I think you doulas are doing one of the most important jobs in the whole world, helping parents get off the right start with a human being. And we have a little saying in our office for the doulas: the better the birth, the better the life. You know? The better your birth, the better your life. If you can help a parent have the birth they wish, a healthy birth for mom and baby, you've affected, that baby may live 90 to 100 years. Talk about a long-term investment. So congratulations, you do it. Now, I want to introduce you to my favorite. Now, I married my favorite doula 50 years ago. This is Martha. In our wedding day, and we just celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary last year. So now, with my doula, we wanted to write books, but we needed some material. So we created, or in this case, procreated material for our book. And this is our laboratory, our home laboratory, our 14 grandchildren and 8 children. So this is the material that we got for our books. Now, what's fascinating about birth? Now, I've attended personally about over 1,000 births, and that was my specialty in the very early years, before they had lived-in specialists at the hospital called hospitalists. But I used to attend what were called high-risk deliveries. And it was amazing. But I still marvel at the symphony of birth, we call it. Those of you who are expecting, doing the greatest job in the world, raising a human being, I'll be in the booth for about an hour after the talk for questions. And I would like you to pick up a copy of the Healthy Pregnancy book. I want to tell you a little history about the book. Now, in 1974, it's a long time ago, at that time they didn't let dads into delivery. But with our third child, we have so many children, we give them numbers now. Child number 3, Peter, Dr. Peter now. I was on the staff at the hospital, so they had to let me in the birth. And I still remember 1974, standing there in the delivery room and watching my wife go through what we later called the hormonal symphony of birth. I mean, it was wow. And that's when we decided that eventually we're going to put together a book. Now, the Healthy Pregnancy book, the chapter I want you all to read is called, it's after the 8th month, it's called The Hormonal Symphony of Birth. And what we do, and this began 5 years ago actually, at a birth conference, very much like this, over in Australia, where they invited people from all over the world to talk about the science of birth, the latest discoveries. Jill and Niels Bergman, for example, all the bonding experts were there. And that's when we put together a chapter called The Hormonal Symphony of Birth. Now, it begins with a little, throughout our book, we have the baby talking to the parents. And the baby opens the chapter with, "Daddy, read this, and then go hug mommy." So the fathers realized the magnificent hormonal symphony of birth that is going on, where you have, we call them performance-enhancing hormones to get it going. You have the relieve and relax, kind of cool it and relax. And it's amazing when you think about the hormonal symphony of birth. And what we do in our chapter is mother is the conductor. Mom is the conductor of her own hormonal symphony. And then you have the supporting cast, the midwife, the doula, the obstetrician, the supporting cast that supports the conductor. And we have a little page where we have the baby saying, no hormone disruptors allowed in my playground, in the birth. No hormone. Meaning that mom is to be given an atmosphere that she can enable the hormonal symphony of birth to occur. So I urge you all to pick up a copy. The pregnancy book is the reason we put it together. It's the only pregnancy book that's written by a university obstetrician, Dr. Linda Holt, a university midwife, Dr. B.J. Snell, who teaches at USC, a mother, doula, childbirth educator, my wife, and I'm the humble male on it, the pediatrician. So it's the only pregnancy book that has that credentials. Get one, give it to your friend. It's a humorous read in some way because we wanted to liven it up. There's no bad news. We saved all the what ifs till the end of the book. That was our biggest complaint of all the pregnancy books. What if this happens? What if no. That's the minority. We saved that to the end of the book. Now, there's a new term called the fetal effect, and that simply means what the healthy habits that mother has during the pregnancy transforms lifelong into her baby. Now, there's another little acronym. It's now called FOOD. Right? FOOD simply means fetal origin of diseases. And we now have traced, if you have a family history, there are 3 major categories of illness: cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and hormonal imbalance. They now can trace those, that many of these can be prevented or alleviated by the healthful habits that mother has during pregnancy. That's what you're going to learn today. Also, if those of you who really want an advanced course, there's a booth over there from our Dr. Sears Wellness Center, the Dr. Sears Wellness Institute, where mothers who really want to get into childbirth and learn about a lot of things, they actually become a certified health coach on all the beautiful things that go on in a woman's body during pregnancy. It's quite an involved course. I encourage you to find out about it. Now, you'll also, I'm just going through a few words now. You're going to hear the term nutrigenetics. Now, what that means, suppose you have a family history of some genetic problems, diabetes being the big one. The prediction is that 1/3 of children in the next 10 years will have diabetes. 1/3. Now, the reason they start preventing this in pregnancy is because you may have a baby with a genetic predisposition to diabetes. You can't change a gene, that's just a random thing, nobody's fault, it just happened. However, now we know that genes have an on-off switch. And that means the healthful habits that mother has during pregnancy, the healthful habits that the parents have during the first 5 years of life, which we're going to talk about, can actually press the off switch on the genes. So the baby doesn't get diabetes as an adult. That whole field, so when you hear the term nutrigenetics, that just means the better you feed yourself, the better you feed your child, the more you press the off switch on the gene. Now, what is it about babies that makes them so vulnerable to illnesses? And why do we need to be so clean and green during pregnancy? The brain. And we're going to talk a lot about the brain today. Because the brain is the most fascinating organ. That's what makes us human. The brain grows the fastest at 2 stages of life. The last 3 months in pregnancy and the first 2 years of life. That is when you as parents can make the most effect, the fetal effect, on how smart and how happy your baby becomes. Now, however, we in our brains, we have a protective wrap around our brain. It's called the blood-brain barrier. It's like picture that the cellophane wrap that keeps all the toxins out. That was a smart design. However, during pregnancy, in the first few years, that barrier leaks. Babies have a leaky blood-brain barrier, so we have to keep it out of their mouths in the first place. Now also, babies have that delightful baby fat. And I love, that's why my 51st year in pediatrics, I don't want to ever retire. I love seeing these little rounded babies, and I love holding them. Baby fat. It's there for a reason. But toxins get stored in fat. So babies are much more prone to storing toxins that get into by their food. And that's why we want to be careful. All right, now, to make it simple for you, what diet should a pregnant mom be on? What diet should a child be on? The real food diet. That's it. The real food diet. To show you what happened when, see, the way a baby's brain grows, right? Think of a brain growth like a Facebook network, all right? You have, the baby has 100 billion of these little brain nerve cells. And how a baby's brain grows, that nerve cell branches out like a tree to Facebook friends in the brain. 10,000 of them. So each one of these 100 billion brain cells has 10,000 Facebook friends. The better you feed the brain cell, the more friends it has, the better connections it makes. That's as simple as that. You feed a child real food, they make real connections. You feed them junk food, they make fake connections. And which brain do you want your baby to develop? Now, growing a little fathead. Now, again, these are all pictures from our book. Because we found that when a mother imagines her baby prompting her inside, she's going to listen. So picture the baby saying, "Mommy, you're growing a little fathead inside." What does that mean? The brain is mostly fat. It's 60% fat. So that whole stuff about eating low-fat diets was wrong. And you'll see all the books now coming out recanting that low fat. It never made sense. There was no science. And if the brain is 60% fat and mother's milk is 50% fat, 40 to 50% fat, Mother Nature doesn't make mistakes. And so if mother's milk is made for growing little fathead, it's full of the right fat. So moms need a right fat diet. Children need a right fat diet, not a low fat diet. Oh. Now, the brain grows the most during childhood. I want you to remember the term fathead. And what is the number one fat that babies need? It's called DHA. DHA is in your prenatal supplement, but not nearly enough. And what do you have here in Oregon that they don't have in any other state in the whole union? Maybe Washington State? You've got wild salmon. Wild salmon, top brain food for the growing baby. Why? Because the top fat in salmon is the top fat in the brain. And Dr. Mother Nature does not make mistakes. Well, go fish, basically. And if you don't like salmon, then a omega-3 supplement, top supplement, a gram a day, which is 5 times what's in your prenatal. And I'll show you why a little bit later. Now, that was pregnancy, and now I want you to picture that you are coming into my office and you're going to start solid foods for your baby. And baby is 6 months of age. And we have here, and your baby, and we have Rachel, and what's your baby's name, Rachel?
Fiora.
Fiora. We have Rachel and Fiora. And Rachel's coming in. Rachel is 7 months? So Fiora is 7 months. And between 6 and 7 months, we have what we call the fathead talk. That means, remember the old days of rice cereal? We don't do rice cereal anymore because what does rice cereal not have? No fat. And you're growing a little fathead, right? Okay. So, first food, number 1 food, avocados. Why? Because avocado is the fattiest fruit available for the little fathead. Second food is salmon. Fat, right? Salmon at 7 months. I have a big picture in my office. Salmon at 7 months. Now, and then thirdly, the next food for the brain is fruits and vegetables. Why? Because the brain is full of fat. Fat oxidizes. Ever leave a fresh fish out overnight, it stinks in the morning because it's full of fat. It rusts. Fruits and veggies are your top antioxidant. Okay? Now, so what we do, we have the veggie test, and I'll show you what that is. This is one of the most fun and messy things we do in our office. Now, this is called shaping young case. So I want you to follow me what's going on now. So our goal is to shape Fiora to crave veggies, because that's the number 1 problem, right? My child doesn't eat vegetables. I get it all the time. So she's at the age we're going to shape her taste, and here's how we do it. So Rachel, if you could hold out your hand, please. And I'm going to take ground up fruits and vegetables in a capsule. It's called Juice Plus. It's the only scientifically proven one. That's why we use it. All right, now I'm going to sprinkle the ground up. This is 10 veggies, all ground up. And Fiora is looking, what on earth are these adults doing? When a baby reaches for something. All right, now Rachel, if you would wet your finger, all right, wet your finger, and you put your finger on top of that. Good, you do that? All right, let's just put her tongue on that. Oh, that's good. Isn't that good? What more? Yeah. More. You like that? She's licking. More. What good? Okay. Messy but fun. Right? So she's learning the taste of veggies. 10 veggies. Kale, broccoli, all that stuff. She's using young. Now, let me show you what's going on now. And follow this closely. And Mom's got veggies all over. You like that, huh? Oh, is that good? All right, now, here's what's happening. Follow me closely. The veggies got on the taste buds of the tongue. The tongue has thousands of taste buds called receptors. And when the veggies hit the tongue, it sends a text message, a biochemical text message from the tongue to the brain. And the brain says, like, I like it. And then the brain, the head brain, sends a text message to the gut brain. And the gut brain says, hey, that's good. You learn to like it more. And eventually that between the text messages keep telling little Fiona, crave veggies, crave veggies. So we do this every day for a few months, and these kids turn out to crave veggies. Okay? They go from not like to crave. It's called shaping young taste. Thank you. Yeah. All right. You see? And that is why so many kids don't like veggies, because we don't start it early enough. See, a baby, this little baby, did you watch how she was watching me? All right? Now, she is an attachment parented baby. How can I tell? Very one little simple phrase. She talks to me with her eyes. She talks to me with her eyes, right? Did you see how she was looking? Right? That is how a baby, digressing a little bit, this is how a baby who is carried and held and touched and nursed. Wow. So, shaping young taste. So that is what we call the sprinkle test. All right, now, I'm going to go real deeply now. What is going on? What is going on in her little brain when a baby gets mama's milk, gets salmon, gets sprinkles and fruits and veggies? Now, see these little cells right here? This is the kids love this one. This is one of the busiest cells in the body. The kids call them spider cells. There are trillions of them in the brain. And they crawl all over the brain. And what they do is they spin a web of myelin. Myelin is like electrical wire insulation. They make nerves travel better. So the better you feed these little spider cells, the better the myelin they make, and the better the brain grows. That is the deepest I'm going to take you into today. But what we now know, because of your technology, that this isn't just something your mother said it sounded nice. The better you feed your baby's brain, the better you feed your little O cells. So I tell the kids remember this, omegas feed the O cells, feed your O cells, and don't go home and tell mommy, Dr. Bill said to feed my O cells. You know, the 4 and 5-year-olds love this stuff. It's not too deep for them. So, this is also new. Because of what we know. Because of the importance of omega-3s in moms. Now we actually measure from when a parent comes in, a new parent, and they're pregnant, I measure with a drop of blood their omega-3s. And the reason is, if a mom is low in omega-3s, baby and the mom are going to have a few problems, which you're going to mention now. Now let me go back. Make sure that I got one little thing here on this. to show you where this is on the, there we go. Yeah. And this is coming new. This is coming new to the doctor's office. The measurement of the fat content of mother's milk can be done in a drop of mother's milk. All right, the patient up here was a very good mom, but she did not make the connection between what she eats and the milk she makes. And all my preaching wouldn't do any good. I said, you gotta eat more fat, you gotta eat some more omega-3s. So, I eat fine. So I said, well, let's measure it. Took a drop of her milk, and her milk was low in fat. Down there. 2 months after taking a DHA supplement, bingo, look what it did. She became a believer. So I'm saying this because there's new things coming to your doctor's office that takes the guesswork out of feeding babies. A simple little drop of blood tells you. Now, most of the time, what mothers eat, the milk is just perfect. All right, now, because Mother Nature prefers the baby, and baby will literally suck the nutrients out of mom to make her milk well. And here's what happens. Also new. Now we know that postpartum depression, postpartum blues, for a lot of moms, is really an omega-3 fat deficiency in her blood. Now here's what happens, so follow me closely. That little fathead during pregnancy literally sucks the omega-3s out of mom to grow her brain, or his brain. And after birth, during those first 3 months, when baby's brain is growing so fast, baby continues to literally suck the omega-3s out of mom. So baby has a nice high level of omega-3s, but mom has an omega-3 deficiency. And this is a whole new field. It's called, the big term here, psychoneuroendocrinology. In simple, fun language, that just means the baby sucks the good food out of you, and baby has enough, but mom doesn't. And when your brain doesn't have enough nourishment, it kind of goes down. All right, now, especially those of you, this is something nobody tells you about when you have a baby, but you will go through a stage, what we call all-night suckers. All right, you probably, if any of you have had a baby from between 1 and 2 years of age, and I have my all-night sucker talk with them, especially when moms go back to work. So if a mom goes back to work and misses her baby during the day, the baby, the little fathead, the smart baby says, aha, I miss mom during the day, I'm going to suck all night. And talk about draining for the mother. Okay? So this is why we have nutritional talks with expectant mom. And I say, tell me about your lifestyle, and we'll adjust your diet to fit your lifestyle, to fit your baby. But we got to do it right. And that's why now we use blood tests and milk tests to get it right. This is rather new in pediatrics, and you'll find a lot of this in our A Healthy Pregnancy book. Mommy brain. Is it real? Well, once upon a time, before we started studying it, it was a derogatory term, and I never liked it. You know, mommy brain, if I forgot my car keys, I forgot my appointment. I had one mother tell me she was going on a trip and she showed up at the wrong airport. Right? Mommy brain, you forget things. Now, yes, mommy brain is real. When you grow, and fathers, listen to this carefully, when a woman is growing a baby in her womb, the greatest event in the world in my humble male opinion. Growing a human being. She's also growing a center in her brain. It's like a radar system. You've heard the term overprotected mother. I don't like the term, but it is real. The great designer of a baby said, I need to have this precious baby protected. So that mom has a radar system. Now, do daddies have daddy brain? Yeah. Takes a longer to develop. But you'll notice, I notice the difference of mommy brain and daddy brain on a playground. You'll watch a baby, for example, you watch a 2-year-old play. Mommy brain will say, oh, be careful, honey. Daddy brain says, climb higher. Yeah, they're both right. Yeah? So mommy brain, daddy brains are different. And the babies are better for it and smarter for it. So when you hear this term mommy brain, it's not a derogatory term. And this is from my wife, Martha. Martha said she was so tired of people asking her, well, what do you do? Now, I have 8 children. Well, what do you do? So finally she says, I am a specialist in early childhood development. So those of you who specialize in having a baby, that's your new title. Now, it's funny, I miss Martha and I usually do these things, these talks together. And as I'm walking out the door, Martha says to me, now Bill, please, no DMJs, dumb male jokes, please. And in fact, the fact that our marriage has survived writing 44 books together is amazing. But Martha loves it. She said, I write it, she fixes it. And one of those DMJs that she fixes all the time is I would brag a lot in our book. I delivered 4 of our 8 children. Martha crosses it out. DMJ, men don't deliver babies. Men catch babies. You're a baby catcher. Women deliver babies. So I had to get it right. That was the worst DMJs I'll tell you later. Now, fruits and veggies. Feed your little growing fathead fruit and veggies. The brain needs antioxidants. Fruit and veggies and fruit and veggie supplements. And you'll see throughout here, the best fruit and vegetable supplement, the only one that has any science behind it, is Juice Plus. And our booth is right behind it. Little tip for pregnant moms eating. I call it Dr. Bill's rule of 2s. Eat twice as often, eat half as much, and chew twice as long, and take twice the time to dine. So you fathers, when you're sitting down to dinner, you can continue being a gorger, but mom cannot. And I'll show you why here. So a prompt for baby, mama, as I get bigger, your meals gotta get smaller. That makes sense. Mama, just eat real food. When we have our pregnancy course in our office, we teach one of the best things we've ever found for mothers during pregnancy and after birth, what we call sipping on a smoothie all day long. You make a big smoothie and you sip on it all day long. That's your breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, afternoon snack, and then you eat a nice healthy salad with some salmon on top for dinner. And now, the biggest smoothie mistake, I call it the biggest shake mistake, pregnant moms make, and all moms make, they don't put enough fat in the shake. Because somebody told them that fat makes them fat. None of it. It's junk carbs that make you fat, not fat. Fat is filling. You're growing a little fat head. So, coconut oil, nut butters, avocado, my favorite fat to go into smoothies. So the healthy pregnancy smoothie, we call it the sipping solution. Decreases what we call the shun, indigestion, constipation, inflammation. And this is really what's blocked. This is a graphic, this is from our newest book. It's a graphic description of what happens, why mothers get constipated and shun and indigestion and all that during pregnancy. It's crowded in here. And the bowels don't have a lot of room to do their thing. So that's why the sipping solution, small, frequent nibbling, you become a grazer in pregnancy, is good for you. Exercise during pregnancy. Why is it so good for moms to move more when they're pregnant? And here's what happened. This actually won the Nobel Prize, incidentally. Movement. Now, another DMJ. I was giving this talk on exercise during pregnancy, and during somebody in the audience says, well, what is Martha's favorite exercise? And I said, childbirth. And she goes, DMJ. Now, number one safe and fun exercise during pregnancy is swimming. Can't hurt yourself. The pregnant body naturally floats better when you're pregnant. All right, and in Southern California, it's a little warmer. So we have our pregnant moms, our practice. They just live in a swimming pool. You know, the local clubs, the local gyms, the local places, and they often heat them. But swimming, oh man, you can't hurt yourself. You got to be real careful with resistance training and all that stuff you do in the gym. And that's why you don't see a lot of pregnant women in gyms with all that stuff. It's not that healthy for your ligaments without a trainer. But swimming, wonderful exercise. Now, what is it about exercise? Stay on time now. What is it about exercise? When you move, all right, the lining of your blood vessels has trillions of microscopic medicine bottles. And when you move, when you walk fast, when you swim, any vigorous movement while you're pregnant, you actually make medicines that come into your system. And it does good things for you. So movement is good medicine. We have a whole chapter in our pregnancy book. What's going on in the body of a pregnant woman when she moves more? So please read that section. I think you all know the health benefits of breastfeeding. I think you all know that. But there's one thing you probably don't know that I want to mention. And this is all new. All right. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but back in 2012, Time Magazine did a feature story on attachment parenting. And this big thing about why the Sears is so much onto breastfeeding. All right, now, it's interesting. I had nothing to do with this particular cover. This cover has proven to be the most successful cover in the history of Time Magazine. Surprised everybody. And a brilliant person, marketing person at Time Magazine said, let's take something very simple and very wonderful like breastfeeding and make it controversial, because controversy sells. So they have a rather hippie-looking mom. This mom actually has 3 college degrees, but they're beautiful mom. And they have a 4-year-old dressed up like a Marine, looks like 7. And are you mom enough? I mean, talk about a controversial cover. That cover came out at 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night. At 10 o'clock, we start getting calls literally from all over the world. Can you hop on the next flight to London? Blah, 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 blah. What's this controversy stuff about attachment parenting? Like, come on, you gotta be kidding. Martha and I literally went around the world, 26,000 miles around the world, all the way to Warsaw, Poland, where they had this in Polish. It's incredible. And the media had a ball with this. My favorite. The media had a ball with this. I think this was the Wall Street Journal. And basically talking about all the companies in the United States, the military, industrial complex, pharmaceuticals, all the companies that suck from the Statue of Liberty mom. I mean, it went crazy. But the good news was it made parents stop and think about a long-term investment. Wow. Attachment parenting. A long-term investment. The more I hold my baby. We were on The View. If you want to read a funny thing, a funny picture, go to YouTube and get The View. I think it was in June of 2012 where they asked me to come on The View. All my friends said, Bill, they will roast you. You know, the men call a hen party, a hen fight. And so I'm the only male. We got all these, Barbara Walters is roasting me. And Whoopi Goldberg, mother of mine, says to me, well, all this attachment parenting is for full-time moms who have nothing to do but hold their babies and sleep with their babies and all that stuff. But working moms can't do this. And you're missing a socioeconomic group. I looked at Whoopi and I said, Whoopi, let me take you my own childhood. I said, I was the only child, my mom was a single mom who worked hard. I grew up in at that time what would be called a poor black neighborhood. So don't give me this stuff about attachment parenting is not for the working mom. It is actually even more important for the working mom. It has nothing to do with a socioeconomic group. And she backed down. So if you want to see very interesting head-to-head male-female type of thing, I wouldn't give up. They tried to roast me on attachment parenting on The View. It's a very funny watch. But attachment parenting, just make simple. Just simple. This is new. What is it about breastfeeding? What is it about mother's milk that's so important? It's called MOM. MOM means milk-oriented microbiota. You're going to hear that term a lot, microbiota. What does that mean? Gut bugs. That means the bugs in the gut. Microbiome is another word. And we always knew there was something special about mother's milk, but we weren't sure exactly what it was until about 2 years ago. And I'm working with a group of neuroscientists at UC Davis on MOM. MOM is a special substance in mother's milk that helps plant the garden in her baby's gut. And here's how she does it. Old MOM, so remember. Now, a baby comes into the world with a gut that doesn't have a lot of germs in it. Now we think, we know we're very hygiene conscious. Oh, can't have my baby have germs. Well, maybe not so much. Because when the germs, good bacteria line the baby's gut, the good bacteria act like pharmacists inside. In return for free food and a warm place to live, they make good food for the baby. They make immune boosters. They make sealants that protect the baby's immature gut. It's like growing a garden in your baby's, the lining of your baby's intestines. Bingo. When they discovered that in mother's milk, now every formula company in the world is trying their best to duplicate it. So you will start seeing MOMs on formula bottles now. Now, as a result of these studies, what happened, the World Health Organization categorized what milks you should feed baby. Number one, obviously, was mother's milk. Number three was formula. And number two, and this is new, is now donor breast milk from milk banks. We learned this 25 years ago when child number 8, Lauren, came into our world by adoption. And we thought because she's adopted, she should not be the product. We had 35 milk moms in my practice. And moms would come in and say, oh, I'm leaking so much milk. Oh, really? You step into the other room. And I'd go home at the end of the day with 35 ounces of milk. Okay? So, for moms who have a medical reason not to breastfeed, and that does happen, or cannot make enough, now, the new thing in pediatric practice is milk banks and donor milk. And you want to have a friend who would do the greatest thing in the world for her friend to donate a little extra milk. So that again is one of the greatest things right now is the use of donor milk more and more. It's no longer new, but it's really taken off. And you'll find milk banks now in every major city. For parents, attaching parenting does not mean you can't only breastfeeding, no. So when you do have to bottle feed for medical reason, and there are, you hold the baby like you would breastfeed, you watch the baby and not the clock. Father nursing. Nursing does not mean just breastfeeding. Nursing means comforting. Yes, fathers are milk duds, but they can still nurse. Father nursing, the neck nestle, the warm fuzzy. Wow. You know, and fathers, I think, have a little edge. I was thinking one day, there are not many things that dads can do better than moms. However, I thought, what do we have that moms don't? Well, we have a deeper voice and we have a hairier chest. This always worked with, and I do this in my office, when moms are just exhausted. And I have a big sign saying what your baby needs most is a happy, rested mom. You need some help, and let's train daddy. So I have dads come in and show them the neck nestle. You put the baby in the crook of your neck, and I'll demonstrate it if anybody wants to bring a baby. But basically you put the baby's head in the crook of the neck, and the male voice vibrates more than the females. And so does our Adam's apple. And the little voice, go to sleep, go to sleep, my little baby. Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, my little girl. Baby zonks right out. Daddies can actually do that a little bit with the moms. So there is a little father nursing involved here. Basically, eat more, Dr. Mom said, eat more fruits and veggies and go outside and play. How many here have kids over 4 or 5? Okay, so you do, okay. They must eat 10 fistfuls of fruits and veggies every day to have a growing brain. 10 baby fists. 10, so have the child put the fists up. That is how much they need. They also need 2 fistfuls of wild salmon twice a week. Those are the 2 biggest food groups that children need to grow their brains. So 2 fistfuls of wild salmon and 10 fistfuls of fruits and vegetables. Very simple way to remember that. And if they don't get those, then I would give them a supplement of omega-3s if they don't eat fish, and a supplement of fruits and veggies, Juice Plus, which we have a boost back there, if they don't have enough fruits and vegetables. But please remember the fistful feeding rule from Dr. Bill. 2 fistfuls of wild salmon and 10 fistfuls of fruits and veggies. A little trick on feeding toddlers. This is Matthew. Matthew is our number 6. He's finished pre-med. We have 3.5 doctors, that's so good. And we had, by the time he came, we were so busy, we couldn't hover around making sure our kids would eat. We were busy. So we would come out, I said, I gotta come up with something. So we had a nibble tray, an ice cube tray on muffin tips. And it works when they turn 2.5 to 3. And we get them up in the morning, we put a tray in front of him with all kinds of nutritious nibblings. Kids love to dip, yogurt dip, guacamole, hummus, cheese, broccoli, broccoli trees on cheese. We put it in front of him in the morning. By the evening time, the tray was empty, his tummy was full, no hassle, that was it. A wonderful way to feed toddlers, called a nibble. Please don't do this. I want to talk to you about just 1 minute about the message we're giving our children, and then I think we'll prepare to stop. Please, parents, don't. We call this in our office sticky stuff. And I have a whole lecture I give to school children called sticky stuff. You put sticky stuff in your mouth, you get sticky stuff in your brain, you get sticky stuff on your arteries and all that. The kids love it. It's an actual story. I was giving my sticky stuff talk at a school, 1st grade class. Mom comes home, tells me the story. The 6-year-old, that night, Daddy puts them in a car and they go to the local Sticky Burgers, let's call it. And they're going into Sticky's Burgers, and the 6-year-old scolds her daddy. Says, Daddy, we can't eat that stuff. We put sticky stuff in our mouth, we get sticky stuff in our eyes, and our brain, and our heart, and our skin. Can't do that. So please, parents, don't succumb to pressure. This does not belong in the mouths or in the brain of our beautiful children, please. This is a sign from my office, the checkout counter, just in case the parents miss it. Okay, Dr. Bill, we got the message, we get all the junk. And I think I'll end with this one now. ADD, ADHD, we don't call it that, we call it MDD, movement deficit disorder. They sit too much. Or NDD, nutrition deficit disorder. This is Oliver. Oliver was so fidgety. He couldn't write. He couldn't sit still long enough to write. 1 month after a smart diet, which we've talked about today, notice the difference. So the moral of the story is, the better food you put in a child's mouth, the better nutrition that goes into their brain. As simple as that. And we'll end with attachment parenting, which we have questions on. The baby B's of attachment parenting. Very simple. We added one more called balance. And I got it yes here. Because there's sometimes when moms will say, oh, my baby needs me so much, I don't have time to take a shower. Babies need a happy, rested mother. That's why we had Little Bee Now. What's interesting, I use our practice in the laboratory. How do these baby bee children turn out? Baby bee children become the seeds, compassionate kids who care. I've never ever yet seen an attachment-parented child as a school bully. They care. Their compassion center in their brain is large. So parents, really, it's the best long-term investment you can give to your children. You give them the time and the energy now. You give them that high-touch style of parenting now. And they're going to come back years down the road and say, thanks, Mom and Dad. And we're getting this as our kids are getting married, they give you the testimonies. Our daughter Hayden gets up at her wedding and says, thank you, Mom and Dad, for giving us kids the gift of health. Bingo. That's the best long-term investment you can give your children. I'm going to end with, somebody asked me, Dr. Bill, what is your number one parenting tip? If you could give one parenting tip, this is what it is. I learned this from Martha. You will spend many of your time, your kids will do dumb things. They will push your buttons. They'll make you angry. And I watched my model Martha do this because she could calm an angry child. Where I wanted to just, take them and put them outside or a little rough sometimes. But Martha would always calm. And I said, what do you do? She says, before I react, when my child does something that really pushes my button, and that will happen, she says, before I react, I put myself behind the eyes of the child and say, if I were my child, if I were Johnny, if I were Susie, how would I want my mother or father to react? And you'll always get it right. So take a deep breath, take some time. If I were my child, how would I want my mother or father to react? And then you react. And your children will thank you for it. So you've been a wonderful audience, and I think